Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Mr. Silver 2000 here. So our topic of today, PES. What the heck is it, right? PES, persistent entity streaming. This is something I guess Star Citizen has been trying to do for a while now in different types, different ways, but now coming in 318, it is now called PES. So I guess the way Chris Roberts will describe this as, let's say you have a coffee cup and you take that coffee cup and you walk into the woods and you set it by a tree. Come back a day later, coffee cup is still there. That's what they mean by this. But on what level is it gonna be PES, right? So I guess one way you can think of this as like, say you're playing a first person shooter and we've all drawn the happy faces, the designs on the walls. You shoot 20 times, but when you get to that 21st bullet, the very first bullet you shot disappears. And you make this snake like trail that, the bullet, they just disappear, everything disappears. So, is this the way PES is going to actually be for us? Let me play you guys a clip from one of the Star Citizen shows, and we'll come back and discuss this a little bit more.
What, if any, trash rules, garbage rules, cleanup rules exist in 318?
So we have, I don't know what Chris Bolte calls it, but it's basically like cleanup entities, and it's
the density manager.
density manager. So thank you. But it basically regulates the density of a certain item, and it's per class, whether it be weapons or cargo or armor, so on and so forth. It's basically per class in a certain radius. So that radius could be 5 meters, that radius could be 30 meters. Like, it really depends on how many are there. And then once it hits that upper threshold, then things will start being cleaned up and removed, but it won't go past, meaning let's say somebody like, Ben was talking about where somebody drops a C2 of luggage or of cargo in an area. Well, it might be that only 20 cargo boxes can be there. Well, it's going to clean up everything except for those 20 cargo boxes. And then from there, if somebody throws in another one, then it'll remove one, and then it'll just leave. And it should be removing the oldest one.
Yeah.
And true or false, I hear this rumor occasionally inside. Has it ever been discussed, a janitor or a garbage person profession?
True. And in fact, we had this discussion basically with we've got some Montreal programmers, so we just had that discussion about them working on it and basically cleaning up the entity class, or allowing players to clean it up. Now it could be used for garbage, but at the same time it could be an incinerator. It could be some other function. So it's basically, it'll be a generic entity that will clean stuff up and remove stuff from the world, but it'll allow us to use it in multiple different ways.
Okay, now that you've guys seen the little clip, what are we thinking is going to go down, right? Is what level? I mean, with the server performance the way it is right now, at what level do we think this is going to take place? Okay, so let's say we have a C2 with fully loaded with cargo. What's that, like 500 SEUs or something like that? Let's say we have a second C2. If they're both destroyed, is one person going to lose half of that based on server performance? I mean, that's a lot of tiny entities that's going to have to be produced in that area, right? Not just something that's connected by a cargo grid that when it's on a cargo grid, it can be, seen as one large multiple entities, I guess, right? So let's put this into a little bit like playable, description here. Let's say you are salvaging and a big battle, large scale battle has taken place. You've got your vulture, you're doing the salvaging, but some players come in and a ship within your realm is blown up. Now, what if your ship that you were working on was the first entity there? Does that mean the ship that you're salvaging and working on is going to disappear? Are there going to be like tiers of, I guess what you would call priorities of what's going to disappear. I think it's going to be a lot of things that SIG's going to have to work out, like around space stations. Is it going to be based on area? So if we're, say, at Everest above Louisville and people are just blowing up ships like crazy, are they going to despawn based on just the amount of clutter, not just on the entity? I can't see, CIG or Chris Roberts for sure, wanting this to end up like a trash depot, right? Like, you look out the windows and right now and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful game. You see the planet, you see the horizon. Now are we going to be looking at a lot more ship holes? From what I've seen in 318 right now, I'm not seeing a lot of that. So I think it's a good sign. I think they're on a good path. I think they're cleaning up what they need to clean up right now. But it brings an interesting topic, right? What about professions? Can we have a trash profession? Can we have a trash profession just like for new players inside, the stations? Can we clean up all of the medical gowns, all of the bottles, all of the food stuff? Will that be a profession they can make a little bit of money on starting out? What about the larger professions, like maybe extra ships? That's got to be in the back of their mind, right? Hey, let's do a concept ship. Let's do a concept ship of a, waste hauler or not salvage, but like a, what would we call it? Just like either waste management or disposal ship instead of something that can actually salvage and be turned in for money. Will they have ships with a module? Could that be a module? A waste management module with an incinerator, or maybe just call it an incinerator module. This is going to be some pretty cool stuff that's coming up, and they can do a lot with it. If they do it right, they can do a lot with it. It could be like a big thing for them, adding the PES with a whole nother game loop. But I guess we're going to have to see what they do because, server and, the new renderer, I think they're still going to have to work out that for quite some time just to see how that balances out. Yeah, guys, that is kind of like a quick overview of what I believe PS is going to be and where it could head and what could happen with the game loops and what could happen with, server FPS and stuff like that. But what do you guys think? Shoot me some comments down below. Let me hear your opinion on PES and what they could do with it. I'd be curious to see what ideas are out there for professions and what they could do with the professions for all these cleanups and stuff. Hey guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for everybody who has supported me. Thanks for everybody who has liked and subscribed and commented and gave me ideas for new stuff to do. And as always, I will see you guys on the next video.